The last quarter-final here at the Riyadh season World Masters of Snooker. Ronnie O'Sullivan against John Higgins. The head-to-head is O'Sullivan 38, Higgins 33. Their very first meeting as professionals was in the Middle East. It was at the Dubai Classic in 1994. 30 years ago, they were teenagers. Starting out, O'Sullivan was already UK champion, and the tournament after that one, Higgins won the Grand Prix. That was his first ranking title. And here they are, nearly 50, still at the top of the game, still providing great entertainment. John Higgins, of course, has played 2 matches already. Yesterday, he was a late call-up, beat Mark Williams, another class of 92 member. Last night, O'Sullivan coming in. The biggest crowd so far, even though it is late here. Looking forward to this one, as Dominic, I'm sure, is as well.
Yes, absolutely. I really am. Interesting to see what sort of shape Ronnie's game's in as well, ahead of the World Championships, which begins in the middle of April, as it always does, of course. Ronnie O'Sullivan gunning for the record of 8 World Championship victories in the modern era, that is, of course. John Higgins, 4 times world champion. These two players, well, what careers they've had. The amount of prize money they've won, the number of ranking event victories. 2 true sporting legends, not just snooker legends.
Yes, and the other thing to say, with, of course, the gold ball here for the Super Maximum 167, they are the 2 leading maximum break makers. O'Sullivan 15, Higgins 13. He made his 13th just a couple of weeks ago at the Championship League. O'Sullivan, the last player in the tournament to start out, and will be, of course, delighted that no one's made the 167, because it's the first player to do it that scoops the £500,000 jackpot. He said before the event, because there was some discussion where that ball would be placed, he says, wherever it is, I'll find it. Which is quite an ominous statement for the game's greatest ever break builder. So it'll be fascinating to see if he does get some sort of chance, how far he gets. Of course, John Higgins last night got to the yellow. It was so exciting, actually. Just finished a little bit too close to it and missed it.
Well, that certainly ruined it. Let's put the black safe for now. But it's a pretty decent safety shot. Ronnie O'Sullivan can't get through to the left-hand side of the table. That's brought the black back into play. And it's a good safety shot as well. Once again, this time John Higgins can't get through to the left-hand side of the table. It's heavily congested on this right-hand side, but there is a pot that Ronnie can, I beg your pardon, John Higgins can attempt here. Red closest to that corner pocket. Now, it looks easier in your picture than it is in actuality. This is very missable. And, of course, there'll be a lot of pressure on it because there are lots of reds in open play.
Mentioned their first meeting 30 years ago. The most recent was this season at the Shanghai Masters, where John Higgins looked like he was going to win 5-2 up. O'Sullivan came back and beat him 6-5. That was the first of his 4 titles this season. He's won, of course, record-extending 8th UK Championship and Masters, the World Grand Prix as well. His last TV outing, though, O'Sullivan, the Players' Championship, he lost 6-0 to Mark Selby. And he was completely outplayed. It can happen when these great players meet. If one really gets on top of their game, they can do it. You always think it's kind of going to be close, but it doesn't always work out that way.
He's played a really good safety shot there, Ronnie O'Sullivan. John Higgins in a spot of bother here. Saw a quick shot there of our referee for this final match of this evening session, Tatiana Wollaston, wife of professional tour player Ben Wollaston.
Well, if John Higgins is outfoxed in the safety stakes, you know it's a good one. Sullivan comes forward and taps his cue on the table, you know it's a good response as well. There's a lot of respect between these two, clearly. All the battles they've had in major events for 3 decades. And here's a new territory in Saudi Arabia for the latest chapter. And even though O'Sullivan's in front, no one else has beaten him 33 times, have they? So Higgins just behind on the head-to-head, but still a fine record. By the way, the latest ever finish, 4:31 AM, the International Open 1996. Joe Johnson and Peter Ebdon, they went on at 8 minutes past midnight. That was a best-of-9 affair. Joe won 5-4. These two started around about 10:02 local time, AM. So, I mean, that record could be under threat. I say record, I'm not sure Joe particularly is proud of it.
So nearly a perfect safety shot, but there may be a possible red on here for John Higgins, but he'll be hampered by the golden ball. That's a sentence I didn't think I'd live to say. Well, after a long and protracted safety exchange, it's Ronnie O'Sullivan that has the first meaningful opportunity now. And he's on the black.
Yes. And we heard him with the interview with Ken before it started. It's definitely on his mind. It's on everyone's mind, but no one's made more maximums than this man. He'd feel like the sort of fitting person to do it if anyone were to do it, wouldn't he?
Eight. 9.
Ron is convinced this red nearest the left corner will pot. He'll try and double kiss the red next to it for position on the black. Well, in actual fact,
70.
he didn't really control the shot at all, so trusted to luck a little in the end. He may be on this pinky note.
So the break will continue, but the golden ball will be removed.
23.
I think one of the
24.
Best things about this event is there'll be so many people here who've never seen professional snooker live before, never had the chance, never had the opportunity. And they'll have seen this man for sure on television, various streaming platforms, but what a great privilege it will be to be here to watch him playing, of course, another legend, John Higgins. And if you've had an all-day ticket, my word, you've been really treated to some drama.
$31.
Yeah, I suppose, Dave, this is snooker's equivalent of watching the Beatles and the Rolling Stones in the same concert.
32.
Well, these two have been going probably as long as the Rolling Stones, haven't they? Still at the top of their game as well. That's the thing. Ronnie O'Sullivan's the world #1. He's won the Masters and the UK Championship this season. He's favourite for the World Championship. Quite incredible.
39. $40. 47. 48.
Just finished the wrong side of the blue, so had to
53.
leave this red from mid-distance. Cleanest pot, but he did Ronnie a favour actually, because he was able to get the cue ball closer to the black. It's been a good break this from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Probably the game's greatest ever break builder. Approaching 1,250 career centuries. He's on 12.44 at the moment. Nobody's
62.
anywhere near him, except his opponent here, John Higgins, who's 8 away from reaching that landmark 1,000th century.
Yeah, I don't know about the Beatles and the Stones. It's sort of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, isn't it? This Ronnie was the first to make the 1,000. John Higgins will be the second. He's looking businesslike already, isn't he? It's been a good break, this, and this red should secure
69.
frame one. There's a nice safety exchange at the start of the frame. Sullivan got in and he stayed in. Well, it's a great effort that to
75.
get into those reds and add Saudi Arabia to the list of countries where he's made a century. There's still a chance. There's still a chance. He's doubled the red.
$78. 79.
Well, it's not like Higgins hasn't seen this
86.
before. I think the thing with O'Sullivan, he said it again in the interview with Ken, doesn't play in everything now, but
87.
when he is at a tournament, he's focused on doing well in that tournament. And this is right up his street, isn't it? One table, big money. It's a new event in a new market with a new innovation. Exactly the sort of tournament
94.
where traditionally he has thrived.
95.
And he's going to start the night, surely, by potting this blue with a century. He's just gone 2 in the morning. Worth waiting for. And he looks wide awake.
what a way to start. First frame that he's played in this event.
108.
And he begins with what potentially may be a
110.
total clearance of 135. Incredible stuff.
$113. 170. 122. 128.
The perfect start. Even whatever that noise was didn't put him off.